Hi, I'm Sloan from SloanBella.com, and I'm here with another astrology video. This is a Virgo video. It's all about Virgo. So what do you want to know about Virgos? What's it like to be a Virgo? How do they operate? Well, I'm going to tell you. Okay, Virgo is the sixth sign on the natural wheel of the zodiac. And as such, Virgo has come into this life to learn how to be of service through work. Virgo is a feminine earth sign, and it's mutable. So it's as earthy as your other earth signs, Taurus and Capricorn, with one little thing. It's not as stubborn, and it's very changeable. So Virgo is an extremely changeable sign. So one minute they can be on a strand of thought over here and suddenly flip back over there. They will change their direction depending on how they are learning the information around them. Because Virgo really resonates with what they can learn and how they can use what they've learned in their work. So they are a sign of work, and they love to do things that make them happy through work and being of service. Now, Virgo in and of itself can come in two different, very distinct ways, and I want you to keep this in mind. Virgo comes in to learn how to be perfect, and that you cannot be perfect. So one part of their mind is like, oh my gosh, I can see the flaws. So they can walk in your house and they can point straight up at the ceiling and they can say, oh my gosh, there's a crack. And you can look for that crack, and you may need to put on like a magnifying glass, look up, because you cannot see it because it's really not visible to most people. Virgo has that kind of eclectic insight into what is off balance and not perfect in the day-to-day world. So you want a Virgo hairdresser because they are meticulous. You want a Virgo surgeon because they will focus on the surgery in a way like an athlete waits to perform and trains for an Olympic event. And having said that, you want your athletes to have a little bit of Virgo in them. Now, over my years of doing astrology for the past 30 years, I've looked at the charts of athletes and people that are considered top of their field. Not the ones who think they're top of the field, but the ones that really have extraordinary abilities and are very focused. And these people have a Virgo influence, either Virgo Sun, Virgo Moon, or Virgo Rising, or a loaded sixth house. Now, keep in mind, I find Virgo to be one of the most psychic signs of the zodiac, and I know Pisces would disagree with me. Pisces is the 12th house, Virgo is the 6th house, but I find Virgo to be exceptionally psychic and have the ability to intuitively pick up information using their logic, which differs from Pisces, because Pisces can get distracted. They tend to have addictions. They tend to go off in the ethers. So when they get information, they go off with it and they don't know how to focus that information. So Pisces comes to it differently. They come to their psychic ability differently. In doing this work with all of the psychics I've met over the past 30+ years, I notice that the ones that are spot on, accurate, and extremely gifted come with either a Virgo Rising, Virgo Moon, or loaded 6th house or Virgo Sun. It is the Virgo in their chart that gives them the ability to hone and train their skills so that it's top notch, and that's Virgo. Now, I want to give you a fun tidbit about Virgo. Virgo ruled animals are birds. So your Virgo people love to bird watch. It's all about the bird watching for the Virgos. And so Virgo is a sign that enjoys for pets. And the reason I'm bringing up pets is because the 6th house of the natural wheel of the zodiac is Virgo, and pets are ruled by the 6th house. So an actual Virgo pet is a bird. But I want you guys to go and get your natural wheel, your zodiac wheel, and I want you to look and see what sign is placed on the 6th house, and I want you to tell me what planets are in the 6th house, whether they're in Taurus, Gemini, Capricorn, Aquarius, it doesn't matter. They live in the Virgo house, which gives every planet in the 6th house a little bit of a Virgo undertone. So that's how you're able to see what kind of pets you'll attract, how the personality of those pets are. And let's not forget the 6th house rules our health. our health issues, our health phobias. And as I like to say with Virgo, they've got a lot of OCD. So the OCD that lives in the Virgo's mind is incredible. And I'm quite sure the DSM-4 has a little caveat off to the side with a little plus Virgo added to it. So it has OCD equals Virgo. Sorry, Virgos, but it's true. It's because the thinking is so repetitive until they correct what is not perfect. That's actually the mission behind the Virgo mindset. It is to focus on what is not working and to figure out a way to correct that so it can be working. So your Virgos are constantly trying to correct what they feel doesn't work and what does not perfect what they are trying to express. So that's why they have such a fixed, focused attitude about things that don't work and are crooked and don't see things the same way. Like if it's slightly off and crooked, the Virgo like goes insane. The funniest thing to do with Virgo people is to go into their house and move something crooked and see how long it takes them to notice. Should take them about 2 seconds because they're operated like that. But let's go a little bit deeper into the karmic side of what Virgo is. Let's talk about the Virgo rising. Your children or little people, male and female, that are born with a Virgo rising. And I want you to keep this in mind as well, because Virgo is a mutable feminine earth sign. Your male, your little kids that are male, masculine, in nature, the Virgo gives them a little bit of a sweeter temperament. It is feminine. Virgos are feminine. There's a femininity to the thinking and a sensitivity. In a man, it's going to come across as a sensitivity. So they may have more of an empathy towards people around them or what's going on and what they're experiencing, because it is female ruled sign. Just the same as women who have a masculine rule sign may not be as sensitive, or their temperaments may be more direct and aggressive, unlike typical females. So you have to watch with the signs like that. But getting back to the Virgo rising, the Virgo rising child is born into a home in this lifetime where their society life from the past life, because I'm looking at it karmically, the incarnation this time. So your Virgo rising kids have come from a lifetime where they were given the luxuries of life, either through royalty or a social light or social type of trust fund life, if you want to have it that way. They come into this life with not that, and they are very well aware of it. So these little kids, they like to have their dinner with their little napkins spread out and their little, crystal cups and their things like this. They enjoy the finer things in life, but it's coming from the perspective of a past life. Now in this life, they come in to a very different kind of family. The families can be equally as great, and they can be good and bad like every other family. However, the dysfunction in the home of the Virgo rising child's life is all directed towards the Virgo rising child. So that child begins to have a very critical sense of self towards themselves, because everything in the house is deflected away from the people that are dysfunctional and is directed towards the Virgo child. So they grow up in a home where they're critiqued quite a bit for the things that they do, whatever those things are that they do. They might just be doing normal kid things, but they get critiqued and picked on. If it's not picked on, it's they feel the judgment directed at them. And the Virgo rising child can read your eyes and your face like nobody's business. So they can definitely tell when you don't agree with what they're doing. They're very, very receptive to the undercurrent of the intuitive information. Really, really a psychic child, a psychic sign. So your Virgo rising child has to conquer their feelings of inadequacy about not being perfect. They want to be perfect because in their childhood they weren't. It's a constant thing. They're trying to be perfect. So they will do so many things to get people's approval, and it can be a real people-pleasing sign to the point of their own detriment. So they do have to work on this. They have to work on healthy boundaries, and they have to work on not being doormats as they grow older to their lovers, because there's a real tendency to do that. Your Virgo rising women have a very difficult time with men. It's just difficult for them. So if they know that going into their relationships, they can sort of structure their responses around that, so it doesn't have have to cause them such conflict. But I guess we don't know it, and we go into relationships and then there is conflict. So for the Virgo rising child, their whole life is about deciding that it's okay to not be perfect. They are enough the way that they are. That's the biggest thing that they need to learn. Now, your Virgo moon sign people with their moon in Virgo operate a little bit differently. It is a very psychic moon sign. It is so psychic that some of your best off-the-hook psychics have it. The professional off-the-hook psychic people have a Virgo moon. And as such, they are spot on intuitive. But of course, what does Virgo moon do? Emotionally, they're going to critique themselves because they're like, did I really think that? Is that really the right thing to think? I don't know. Now, the moon in our chart is the mother in our life. So when you look at anybody's chart, regardless of the sign, you look to the moon sign and the aspects to see how their mother affected them. And the moon in Virgo is very interesting because it means that your mother figure, the person that raised you, the mother authority in your life, was extremely critical of you on an emotional level. Now, they may have been doing it for your own good, telling you to sit up straight and not hunch, telling you not to eat 400 bags of chips because that's not good for you, telling you to brush your teeth because you don't want them to fall out, all of those kinds of things, taking you to dance classes, to grooming classes, to whatever, horseback riding lessons, teaching you how to do things properly so as to give the air of perfection. Now, the Virgo moon child will often rebel against this because the structure of it makes it into a work that isn't fun for them because it's not something that's coming from their own creative energy. So this is something they struggle with throughout their childhood and their life. However, if they can get over that, learn how to process that and move on from that, they can actually intuitively really direct themselves on an emotional level into a career that gives them so much joy, which a lot of people have a hard time doing. They can't do it. They just stick at what's there and they just say, okay, whatever. Your Virgo sun sign people come in with yet a different karma. Their karma is to specifically be of service through their work, regardless of what their work is. So they will focus on that and they will do that. Now, the biggest thing and gift you can give anybody with a lot of Virgo in their chart is to try and allow them to educate themselves at whatever field they're interested in, because they are so smart. They love to learn, they love to talk, and their ability to communicate is extreme. Like, they can get to the higher levels of communication ruled by Mercury, and they are quick. So you can teach them Spanish in a week, you can teach them French, you can teach them to ice skate, you can teach them how to make ice cream, you can teach them how to make your beds, do your laundry. That's a good thing out there for the moms of Virgo children. You can teach them as long as you give them something to do and you praise them for their work. They will love it. These are your little kids that love to play restaurant. And what I mean by that is they don't like to play, let's sit down and have tea. They like to play, let's build the restaurant. Let's make the milkshake. Let's put the hamburgers together. They want to be the worker bees. The other thing with the Virgo is you have to teach them, if they are particularly skilled at their given profession or talent, that they can in fact be the leader. They're a little bit tepid in their ability to rise up and lead. It's not that they don't want to, they don't want the criticism and focus on them, because anytime you have Virgo, you have people that are pointing the finger at you. That is the energy of Virgo. But it's done in this lifetime so that you can learn how to take what will never be perfect, what is not perfect, and bring it into a beautiful expression that is almost perfect. So we know that there's no perfection on this planet, but when you're doing that, the Virgo people, they want to work and elevate themselves to get it as good as it can be. So these are your people that make your scientific breakthroughs, that build beautiful costumes, beautiful movie sets. Another really interesting fact is that Hollywood, speaking of movie sets, is actually a Virgo-ruled city that gives the illusion of perfection through the movies, the romantic movies, the Gone with the Wind, the current movies. Everything. We believe we're living in the movies. Well, it's Virgo-like. Their job is to focus, analyze, and articulate that expression through their work, which is what the industry does. To make a movie takes a lot of work. You've got everybody from the ground up doing that movie, and not just the talent. It's not like the actor walks on and goes, "Hi, I'm going to be this." There's so much more that goes into it, and it gives the illusion of whatever they're trying to convey, which is not perfect, but that's what it does. So Hollywood is a Virgo ruled city. Each city has a start time. Like we are July 4th as a country, as America, which is a Cancer ruled country with a Gemini rising. Some people say Scorpio. I'm not sure, but unless the times are off on when they actually did the signing of the country treaty. But either way, it's a Cancer ruled country. So you do the same thing for the cities. When was the city started, the latitude and longitude, and the time that the document was signed, and that is your mundane astrology for cities. And there's books written about that, probably by a bunch of Virgos. So a bunch of researchers. Virgos make excellent researchers because they will jump down a rabbit hole to find out information that nobody else can find because they cannot stand to not know. If you get somebody who's a combination of a Scorpio and a Virgo, you've got somebody that can probably solve murders all over the world all day long because they just are so good at it. So you probably want to find that person because they'd be super good at it. Now, looking at all things Virgo, you want to then go to your 6th house and see about the planets in the 6th house because, as I said, that's also going to give you a Virgo undertone to those planets' expression. So when you're looking at all things Virgo, we are coming into Mars that's going direct. So for your Virgo people, we are in the direct station. We are stationary direct at the moment. And as of the 2nd of September, we are on our way forward. Mercury has gone direct and Saturn will be going direct on the 6th of September, which focuses, and it's in your fellow earth sign of Capricorn, which focuses Virgo on the work setting. So Virgo is coming into a very good year work-wise, and it's super exciting to watch it happen for them because, as I said, when Mars was going retrograde, this was bringing up old issues from the past, bringing them into the foreground so that we could bring them up, fight about it, and release it. That's what's actually happening. That's what happens in a Mars retrograde. Before any of us can move forward in any sign, we have to get over things that we could not deal with. And so that's exactly what this Mars retrograde did. So for Virgo, it puts Mars in your 5th house moving forward, jumping through it'll go from the 5th house into the 6th house. So your creative work vision will then come into fruition in action. So it's a really lucky time. So I suggest all you Virgo risings, moons, and suns who have any idea about what you want to do creatively, write it, create it, draw it, sew it, make it, suggest it, get funding for it, but do it. Put it into action. And once again, I'm Sloan Bella from sloanbella.com, and I hope you've enjoyed the Virgo season video.